Yes.
Confirm me if you're able to see. Yeah, today's agenda is like I'm just taking a small bit of Ariba function, Ariba, that is requisition and purchase order today as part of this demo session. Okay, we'll be discussing about functional scope, process summary, requisition status flow, requisition status description, and requisition to PO high level process, how actually it works, and purchase requisition overview, its line item types, generate how to generate purchase order, and change and cancel a PO functionality. We're going to cover these things today. Okay, and I think there are two people who is working in MM, and there is only one guy who is having a little bit of exposure on Ariba side. Correct? Am I right? Yeah, you have to respond me
Yes,
yes or no. Okay. Otherwise, I would be not
yes,
knowing whether you are hearing or not. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Thank you.
yeah, Raj.
Yeah. Here, when it comes to functional scope, a key benefit of Ariba Procure to Pay solution. No, don't take only Ariba Procure to Pay and any Ariba module. It has seamless integration, end-to-end integration of data across all the things like Ariba network purchase. I mean, whatever you take, like if you take procure to pay, so it will be having a seamless integration of data across catalogs, accounting data, approvals, Ariba network, purchase order, contracts, invoicing, receiving, everything. And when it comes to requisition, basically, I'm only concentrating on requisition today. Okay, if you have any other doubts like other than this, if you have anything you want to clarify with me, you can just ask me. Okay, and requisition details can be manually populated by the preparer. Requisition details are used throughout the subsequent steps in the process, like all the process following PO, receiving, invoice, matching, and payment. And requisitions can include catalog, non-catalog, punch out, and contract line items from variety of suppliers. Okay, what exactly the requisition line items? Like you will be having catalog item there, non-catalog item there, punch out item, which is also one of the catalog type only, and contract line items you would be having. And requisitions can be split into multiple POs based on the line item types. The line item type can be catalog or non-catalog, or based on the different suppliers. You can split the purchase, I mean requisition into multiple POs. For example, right, already requisition can have multiple line items with the different suppliers. It is possible, right? So in such case, I mean, system will split the I mean requisition into multiple purchase orders based on the suppliers. So once the purchase order is created, it will be sent out to the supplier. Okay, like, and then once it is fully approved, like for example, if you want to, I created a purchase requisition and I have submitted it and it is approved. All the approvers are approved. Once all the approvers are approved, it will be generating a purchase order. So once the purchase order is generated, or even before that, if you want to change the purchase requisition, so it will again trigger the workflow from the scratch. I think the same behavior you can observe in SAP MM as well. Okay, whenever you change a quantity or
Yes,
amount, so it is going to re-trigger the workflow from the scratch. Correct.
yeah,
Similarly here also you can configure. And then as I already told you, right, requisitions are composed from either catalog items, punch out items, non-catalog items, or contract line items. Since already someone mentioned here, like they also worked on contract management. So contract management is one of the upstream module, which is basically placed in a parent level. Okay, once you create a contract, it will be replicated back to the downstream, which is P2P. There you can make a use of contract for your purchase requisition creation or procurement activities. Okay, and next, default details such as accounting, ship to address, and approval steps may be defaulted based on the preparer or on behalf of user profile and requisition details. Right? Like there are two things. One is the preparer, actually the one who creates the purchase requisition, and one more is the requester who actually needs that product into into his production activity, whatever it is, into his business purpose. He needs that product. You got the difference, right? Preparer and requester. Preparer is the one who is creating the request, and requester is the one who needs the actual product. Okay, Like whenever you create a, because for example, if I am creating a purchase requisition, I'm the preparer and Nitin is the requester. For example, actually Nitin needs, for example, non in the, you know, right, office supplies, for example, pen and paper. Nitin needs for his office purpose pen and paper, but he's not, he don't have access, or he is not, he don't have time to create a purchase request. since he since I am his reportee, so he can ask me to create a purchase requisition for pen and paper. I'll go ahead and I'll create a pen and paper, but actually it is required for Nitin. So what I'm going to do, I will become a preparer there, and I'm going to create a purchase request, and I'll put Nitin's name as a requester. Then what happens, all the accounting data details are assigned to him will be captured, defaulted to the purchase requisition, like cost center which he belongs to, and all other details, whatever the accounting details are there in his user profile, will be captured into the purchase requisition. And you can submit the purchase requisition. Once you submit the purchase requisition, and Nitin will also be notified that this is a purchase request is created on behalf of you by by Raj. Okay, then he will be notified.
Yeah.
He will also be included in the approval flow as a watcher. You can also make him as an approver based on the approval flow configuration, but later stage will cover that as well. Okay, Nitin will be notified. Then Nitin can just re-verify it whether this guy I mean, whatever the purchase requisition this guy is created is correct or not. How many quantity I was asked and how many quantity he created, and all he can just verify the things which are mentioned in the purchase requisition. Then it will be followed with the approval process. Once all the approvals are approved, then just the procurement activity is going to carry on. Okay, this is the preparer and requester difference. Basically, this is very important when it comes to Ariba. And we have the same thing in SAP, in SAP as well, I think. Correct. The same thing we have there also concept, but there mostly the requesters are going to create a purchase requisition. They are provided with a proper creation access, requisition creation access. They're going to carry it further. Okay. And next, non-catalog request may require additional input from requester or fulfill the spot by team. For example, if since I am the preparer, I'm going to create a non-catalog item which we don't have a catalog for it. For example, pen and paper. I don't have a catalog item created in my system. So if there is no catalog item, so I'm going to create a non-catalog item, correct? I have to enter the information manually. I may not be having sufficient information, but I can place a purchase requisition. So next, which will be notified to the Nitin, since he is a requester, he can enter the remaining information, additional information, whatever it is required, and he can enter, then he can submit it. This is basically for non-catalog item. If it is a catalog items, so all the information is already specified in the catalog item. As soon as he add the catalog into the cart, so it will be populated in the purchase requisition. So then you don't need to uh, enter additional information into the purchase requisition. Correct. And then once all the approval steps are completed and delay purchase date is has been met, POs will be created and communicated to the suppliers. Here we have a test basically, and in next upcoming slides, I'm going to cover this. Once all the approvers are approved in the purchase requisition, then only the purchase order is going to get created. And here there are two things you can configure based on the parameter setup. You can just configure it whether you need the purchase order to be generated as soon as all the approvers are approved, or delay purchase date is met. There is a field called purchase delay purchase date. You can mention the date there actually. Even if all the approvers are approved and delay purchase date is not yet met, it is still after 2 days, then purchase order will not generate. After 2 days only it is going to generate. If you have configured this functionality, if you don't configure this, purchase order will be generated as soon as the approval flow, I mean like approvers are approved. Once all the approvers are approved. This is clear, or anyone is
Yes.
having doubt? Clear, right? There are two things. One is all the purchase approvers are approved and delay purchase date has been met. We can control the purchase order creation from these two things. Okay. And then Any once the purchase order is generated against the purchase requisition, so whatever the changes you do will be saved under a new version. Right, Microsoft Word or whatever the document, so you can save it in version v1 v2. Whenever you are going to update a ftd for different phases, you will be still receiving additional requirements even after build phase, right? So what you are going to do, you will be changing the version, and you're going to update the additional information, additional requirements, so that you will come to know, so at what stage it has come, and what was the version before this, and what was the requirement before version, in before version, so that you can differentiate. So here also same thing, purchase requisition will be created with some particular id, and purchase order is generated. And now if you go and change the purchase requisition will be created with a new version only. For example, if pr number is pr123 is created, if you change it again, once after the purchase order is generated, pr123 hyphen v1 will create. If you change it again, pr123 hyphen v2 will create. But whatever the purchase order is generated will be same. Only thing is it is going to get reflected with a new change that has been made. Okay, any doubt here with the version change? Anyway, we'll see in upcoming sessions, like when you are going to give a demo, that time you can see the differences here. Whatever I'm trying to cover here, you'll get to know, right? You'll get a clear idea there, even if you don't get now. But ask me if you have any doubts. Okay, this is the requisition status flow. Basically, almost it is very similar. Only thing is here purchase requisition is going to link with is going to have a direct link with the purchase order, and you can just flip between purchase requisition and purchase order. That flipping we can do in SAP as well, but here it is very like intuitive. The since UI is so beautiful, you can easily flip between PR and PO. That is something you will see in upcoming sessions. Okay. And whenever you're going to create a purchase requisition, as soon as you enter the create purchase requisition screen, automatically the number will be purchase requisition number will be generated. And if you come out, or if you can save it, the status will become composing. Or even during creation of purchase requisition, the status will be composing. Once you submitted it, its status will become submitted. See, once it is submitted, it will be under approval, right? It might have triggered some several approval nodes. So it will be under the approval of first approver, and pending for other remaining approvers, the next approvers. So in such case, still the requester or the preparer can still withdraw the purchase requisition. Okay, he can, once he withdraw it, so it will again come back to the composing status. Okay, and once all the approvers are approved, the status will become from submitted to approved. And once fully approved, if it is during approval, for example, there are 4 approval nodes have triggered, only first 2 are approved, and still 2 remaining are not yet approved, it will be in approving status. The requisition status will be in approving. Okay, once all the approvers are approved, the status will become ordering. There is a slight difference between ordering and ordered. Okay, ordering is the stage where the purchase order is being generated. Once the purchase order is completely generated, and it will be sent out to the supplier network, as well as our backend system. The backend system can be anything, right? It can be SAP system, or it can be Oracle, any ERP system, PeopleSoft. You can take any ERP system. Okay. Once it is successfully replicated to the backend system as well as Ariba network, and once it is replicated to Ariba network and backend system, we are also going to receive the successful information that purchase order is being successfully replicated. Then it is coming back to Ariba and updating the purchase order as a ordered status, purchase requisition as a ordered status. Okay. Here you see here order received by supplier. So once the purchase order is sent out to the supplier via Ariba network, that is where the supplier is going to receive the order from Ariba network. Okay, once it is ordered, then you can start posting goods receipt receiving. So once it is, I mean, like if you, for example, if you have already ordered for 10 quantity and you have received only two, so in such stage, the status of the purchase requisition will be receiving. Once you receive the full quantity, then only the status will become received. Okay. Once it is become received, you are not able to cancel the purchase order or purchase requisition. But if it is still receiving, until receiving, you can still cancel the purchase order or purchase requisition. You can see here, you can observe here. Okay. And one more thing, or I mean, let me clarify about ordering status. See, as soon as the purchase order is generated, since a purchase order is an external document, we are going to send it to the supplier so that we are going to make a commitment that we are going to buy this product from you. So you should be ready with the goods delivery. That is the commitment we are going to have once you send the purchase order to the supplier. But still, purchase requisition is the internal document. We are not going to have any commitment with the supplier, because since purchase requisition is not yet released to the supplier, we are not going to release the purchase requisition to the supplier at all. Only once after the order is generated, we are going to send it. Okay. And next, ordering. Anyone heard about CIG? CIG is one of the integration tool between Ariba and Ariba network, as well as SAP ERP backend system. Not only SAP ERP, it can be any ERP system. Okay. For example, let me explain. You have created a purchase requisition and all the approvers are approved. Purchase order is generated. Once the purchase order is generated, I mentioned already, the purchase order is going to send out to supplier via Ariba network, as well as backend ERP system through CIG. Okay. There are many cases where purchase order replication may fail in sending out to supplier via Ariba network, as well as backend system, due to many reasons. There are so many reasons. Maybe your SAP ERP backend system and Ariba is not in sync, or you have some network issue with Ariba network, so that time also it may get fail. If it is getting fail, the status will be stay as is, ordering only, so that you can just go back to the systems and you can just do error handling. You can start it from the purchase requisition. You can go to the change log or else history. There you can just find out what is the reason behind this ordering status, reason behind the purchase order staying in ordering status. And you can go back to CIG. From there you can just go back and check the transaction tracker, payloads, what is the reason. And still you don't get any root cause, then you can go to your backend ERP system. If you take SAP we can go to SRT underscore money T code, where all the transactional data data will be stuck. There you can just check with the error status. There you will find the particular transaction and you can get to know the reason. For example, you say there is a description field, right, in purchase requisition and purchase order, and we have this description field in SAP also. Am I right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Basically, what happens in Ariba, for such description and text fields, they will allow up to 250 characters by standard SAP Ariba. But in SAP they will not allow that many characters. It will be up to 80 characters or some 60 characters. I'm not sure about that, but up to 60, 80 characters. Still, it is
Hmm.
allowed 250 characters here. So whenever a user enters up to 250 characters and he submit the purchase requisition and purchase order is generated, that purchase order is not able to, I mean, like system is not able to create this purchase order. Still, it has a description field of 250 characters, which is basically allowed only 80 characters in SAP Correct. In such case,
Yeah.
system is not able to do, right? So what it will do, it will throw an error message back to CIG or back to SAP Ariba saying that this field is having a character limitation. So that is why it is not able to create. So you can just analyze it from asset underscore money or from the ERP pushback error, which is shown in the history of purchase requisition in Ariba. So you can just sync both the field. You have to sync both the systems with regards to this particular field. Then only the transaction will be successful. Okay, and other than there are so many reasons. You can even goods receipt may get failed due to the over receiving, right? There are so many reasons where purchase order get stuck in ordering status. That is one of the thing that you have to everything every day you have to monitor this particular thing, like a certain underscore money or what are the failed transactions from Ariba to SAP You have to monitor and you have to correct it as and when. If there is a delay again, uh, there will be a conflicts, right? You are not able to create, you are not able to correct it due to some time duration and all. So every day we have to keep an eye. You can just implement RPA for it, so that whenever RPA runs, it will just give you the email with error message and failed transaction, so that you will get to know even without logging into Ariba or SAP system. If you have any error message, you can go back and just do the error handling stuff. Okay, any doubts?
No.
Okay, clear, right? Okay, these are again the different statuses of purchase requisition. Composing is the state where the requisition is created and completed by the user. It is a composing status. Once he submit, it will become submitted, and approved you already know. And denied, approver can deny. If any of the approver is denying the purchase requisition, the status will become denied and it will be routed back to the preparer or requester with a composing status. Ordering is the stage where the purchase order is being transmitted to Ariba network. I told you, right? Being generated or transmitted to Ariba network. And next, ordered is once after the purchase order is generated and received by the supplier via configured Ariba supplier ordering method. Ordering method, again, we have different types of ordering method, which will be covered in upcoming sessions. Receiving is the stage where the purchase order is partially received, and received is the stage where all the quantity is received. Cancelled is nothing but whenever you're going to cancel the purchase requisition, so it is becoming cancelled status. Until when you can cancel the purchase requisition or purchase order, until it is receiving status. Once it is become received, you you will be not able to cancel the purchase requisition. Okay, this is the high level process flow of requisition to PO in SAP So we will be having a separate purchase requisition. Then purchase order, how will you create? With reference to the purchase requisition, you are going to create a purchase order, or through MRP you will be able to create, or through sales order you are going to create a purchase order. But here you no need to create the purchase order manually. You no need of manual efforts to create purchase order. As soon as you submit the purchase requisition with due all the due approvals, it is going to create the purchase order automatically, and it is going to give you a PO number. Okay, PR number is different, PO number is different, but both are having a direct connection between them. But you don't need to create purchase order manually. So as soon as you create a purchase order, system generates a purchase order, it will be sent out to supplier. There comes integration thing. Since it has to send to ERP as well as to supplier. Okay, so it has three things. One is the requester part, and one is Ariba sending out to Ariba network and backend, and approvers come into picture between requisition to PO. Okay. Any doubt you have between PR and PO? What is the difference when you compare, when you just map it with your SAP Just, just do let me know. Okay. And what is purchase requisition basically here, right? And a purchase requisition is the approval document created when user submits a request to purchase any goods or services. Each purchase requisition is assigned to a unique ID. I told you here, like PR1234. If it is going to create a new version, means the same number will stay as is, just with a hyphen V1, hyphen V2, hyphen V3. Okay, that's how you can track with the same number range only. You will just replace the previous number. That's it. Since it is internal to the buying organization, so we are not going to have any commitment to the supplier, since it stay internally. purchase requisition document, as you already know about it, right? Since you already worked in SAP MM. And next, how it can be created. There are three ways to create a purchase requisition in Ariba. One is either through shopping cart, either catalog or non-catalog item. The second one is you can copy the existing PR and you can create a new PR. The same thing we can do. Copy option is also available in SAP MM, right? And then another thing is like via import, by importing the data. For example, if you have a legacy system, some different system, you want to create those purchase equation, whatever the purchase equations are available in legacy system, you want them into your SAP Ariba, you can just enter the details in a CSV format. You can just import into Ariba. You can create a purchase requisitions. Okay, there are three ways to create a purchase equation. One is manually with a catalog and non-catalog item. The one is by copying the existing PR. The third one is by importing via file, CSV file. And what does it contains? So purchase requisition basically contains header details and line item details, accounting details, line item shipping details, and comments and attachments. It is exactly similar to our SAP MM. There is no difference in it. Okay. And now, what are the types actually? There are five types, different types of line items that a requester is able to add to their shopping cart. One is punch out catalog item. Do anyone know about punch out catalog item?
Like a symbol of a punch out where it will take to seller portal.
Okay, and we also have a full catalog. So, do you know any difference between full catalog and punch out catalog?
No, punch out catalog, I know. I don't know about full catalog.
Yeah. Let me explain. See, there are two types of catalogs basically. I mean, forget about this partial catalog, static catalog and punch out catalog. Static catalog. So you will be creating a catalog by yourself as a company. Internally, you are going to create and you are going to upload in your Ariba system. And punch out catalog is the catalog where buyer can punch out to the supplier website directly. As soon as you click on that punch out catalog, it will be directed to the supplier portal, supplier URL, and from there you can just add the item to your cart and you can create a purchase requisition. This is something you are going to punch into supplier network directly. Okay, but in a static catalog, you are not going to punching into any of the supplier network. You are just it is within your company, within Ariba system itself. You are going to add the item which is available in the Ariba system. So this is the main difference basically. And punch out catalogs can be established by your supplier as well. They can go to their supplier network and they can import the catalogs and they can make it visible for you people as a buyer to the buyers. Buyers can keep and also buyers also can configure the punch out catalogs from their buyer account, buyer Ariba network account. So in punch out catalog, basically you are punching into the supplier website. Okay, and static catalog is something you are loading the catalog within Ariba as a buyer from yourself. Okay, and next contract line item is also one of the line item. Non-catalog line item is, you know, right? Non-catalog line item is it doesn't have any catalog things. You are going to enter all the information manually by yourself. Okay, and these are all the different types, line item types that you are going to make use of it in purchase requisition creation. I mean, clear about punch out catalog and normal catalog?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, this one is already I explained how to generate a purchase order. So delay purchase date until date and once all the approvals are approved. So this is how we are going to control the generation of purchase order in SAP Ariba. And also, let me tell you, how many of you are aware about Ariba network?
I'm aware about the Ariba network.
Yeah, can you just brief me about it?
Basically, in Ariba network, a buyer and supplier both can access related the things. For an
Yeah.
examples, I send the PO copy to supplier, okay, from
Mm,
S4. So I
mm,
have to retrigger the JDRC PO type message,
mhm,
JDRC message type. From
mhm,
JDRC message type, it will be redirect the PO copy into the Ariba networks, where
mm,
in Ariba network we can see all the PO details into the
mm,
Ariba network portal. So supplier and
mm.
buyer both accessible for the
Correct.
PO copy and
Yeah.
PO details like the
Correct.
how
Correct.
many which tax has been kept, which
Okay.
tax
Okay.
code
Yeah.
has been procured, header details, internal
Mm,
details, everything.
okay. Okay. Actually, I think you might have worked on commerce automation, I guess. So that is why you are telling that you are triggering the purchase order from SAP
uh,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Am I right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Currently, I'm using
Okay.
Ariba as well, like the Ariba buying guiding, Ariba network, and XML, payload,
Mm,
everything.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Clear. Clear. Understood. Yeah. Actually, when you buy a Ariba subscription, there are three things will come along with it. One is Ariba buying system, that is Ariba buying upstream or downstream, whatever. Ariba one is Ariba system. The other one is Ariba network. In Ariba network, you will be having types of accounts. One is buyer account and one is supplier network, supplier account. Okay, Ariba buyer network account, supplier network account. See, supplier network account is something supplier can access. They can receive the purchase orders. They can give the purchase order confirmation back to Ariba. They can create a order acknowledgement. Okay, advance shipping
Yes,
notifications.
yes,
Correct,
yes,
and
mm,
they can also
mm,
submit invoices. As a supplier
yes.
from Ariba network, they can do all these things, and they can also
Mhm.
see all the PO details. Whatever the PO is created by the buyer from Ariba system, they can see all the PO
Mm,
details. Okay, against it, they can
yes.
create order confirmation, order acknowledgement, and then invoices they can create. Okay,
Hmm.
and one more, I told you Ariba buyer account. So Ariba buyer account is also a very critical thing. It plays a very critical role in Ariba implementation projects. Basically, whatever the transaction rules that you are going to maintain between Ariba network and the Ariba system are going to controlled via Ariba buyer account. Like whether they need accounting, or whether they want accounting informations to be sent to Ariba, I mean to supplier via Ariba network. If they want to control it, they can control it via Ariba transactions from Ariba buyer account. There are some transactional rules. If they want to send it, they have to configure it in Ariba buyer account. If they don't want to send, they can just hide it. You know, right? In most of the organizations, the client will not be sending their accounting information to the supplier because that is none of the supplier business. They don't need to know about the accounting details. Correct?
Due to compliance issue and
Yeah, due to
everything.
compliance issue, buyer accounting details they don't want to see. They, I mean, then
Exactly.
there is no necessity to see at all, right? So in such case,
Hmm.
they can hide it. So these kind of transaction rules you can configure it via Ariba buyer account, and even in Ariba buyer account, you can do all sort of Ariba network configurations. Tax informations you can just configure there, and foreign currency invoices, foreign currencies you can just configure there, and currency conversions you can maintain there. So most of the things you can maintain via transaction rules from Ariba buyer account. Okay. Now you clear what and all will be there in Ariba? Ariba, Ariba buyer account, Ariba supplier account. Supplier and buyer, there is only one like one tool, that is Ariba network, and for other one is like Ariba system. Ariba system also we have one more additional thing nowadays, that is guided buying. Guided buying is something the system only will guide you. It will make your work very easy so that you can easily go and create a purchase requisition or approve the invoice, approve the purchase order, receiving you can do very easily in guided buying. Guided buying is exactly do the same thing whatever the Ariba buying system will do, but it is quite more intuitive, and it will be given to the I mean end users will be given to the Ariba guided buying access. For example, if you see right, SAP MM we have worked, and we also have a Fury. Anyone worked on Fury?
Yes.
Yeah. SAP S/4HANA system is we'll consider it as a backend system. Only IT people will be having access to this SAP S/4HANA backend system, and all the end users will
Hmm.
be, our business users will be given access to the Fury system.
Fu- Fury portal.
Correct.
Hmm.
Similarly, here you can say guided buying is nothing but a Fury, and Ariba system is nothing but a SAP S/4HANA system. Just I'm mapping here to make you understand. Okay, not exactly same,
Yes,
but it
yes,
is
yes.
something that is how it works actually here also. Okay, and then I already told you, right? Version details. Until unless
Hmm.
purchase requisition is completely approved, you will not be having purchase order. Correct. Once it is approved, then only you will be having a purchase order against to the purchase requisition. Okay. Once the purchase order will created, then only this version thing will come into picture. If the purchase requisition is created PR123 and it is not yet created order, then even if you go and change, the same number will be there. It is not going to create a new version because there is no purchase order against it to update, right? So then the same purchase requisition will number will stay as is and it will just update with the new changes. But once after the creation of purchase order, whatever the changes you do in purchase requisition will be recorded in the new version of the purchase requisition. If you see here, PR1234 hyphen V2, this is how it looks, the new number. And purchase order number will be stay as is, but with the new changes affected. Once we go into the system, so we'll be able to understand this very clearly. Okay, and if you have doubt,
Yeah.
please do let me know. It is clear, right? Version thing is also clear for you people.
Hmm.
Okay, and also, for example, here in approval workflow, the positive scenario is you will add the item to the cart and you'll create a purchase requisition. It will trigger the approval workflow based on the configuration that you have configured in the system. That's all okay. It is approved. Approval is also okay. For example, if you want to cancel the purchase requisition, even then you can configure the approval workflow, so it will trigger to particular people. Once this particular approvers are approved, then only the system status, I mean the requisition status, will be updating as a cancelled. Until unless it won't. That is one of the functionality that you are going to have in SAP Ariba. Okay, if the user edits the line item for purchase requisition with the status of shipping, shipped, receiving, any fields can be changed except these: commodity description, supplier location, supplier auxiliary part ID, part number, unit of measure, and unit price. If it is already shipping, shipped, or receiving status. Apart from these fields, you can still change other fields. Okay, and then as similarly, like in Ariba, I mean SAP MM, if it is already received for some partial quantity, then you would not be able to change the PO quantity less than the received quantity. This is a standard functionality, right? In Ariba, in SAP MM also, you have a purchase order for 10 quantity and you already have a receiving receipt in place for 2 quantity. Then if you go back and change the purchase order quantity for to 1, is it allow? System is going to allow? It is not going to allow because you already have a 2 receipt quantity. So
To
how
receipt.
it will allow? Yeah, it will allow up to, only you can reduce the quantity to 2, since we already have a
Exactly.
2 received quantity. Okay, similarly
Hmm.
a similar thing is also going to work in Ariba. So same thing, only the tool is having difference and some additional features we have, since it is a cloud based application. Okay,